Seth Shaw, what's going on?
Nothing much, man. Just had an off day today. Enjoyed some eating. Got the fresh cut. We got to keep it fresh with the mall. We got to keep it flowing.
I just noticed the bolt on the side. That is,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
you know what?
you got to have the bowl, and you got to have the bowl. That's what it is.
You're getting stylish over here. You're getting much more stylish than people realize.
Yeah, they need to recognize what's going on over here. We got a lot going on.
I mean, I just have a baby mullet going on. I just got this like Euro mullet thing going on.
Yeah, I love it though. You got to keep it going. You got to let the fiance let you keep it for your wedding because that would be sick.
That's gonna be iffy. There's an iffy part in there.
Dude, it's gonna be so cool. You have to do it.
I mean, I'm probably going to. We're just gonna have to find out how much she's gonna let the waterfall go. It's gonna be an interesting December.
You might not get nothing for Christmas.
Oh, for sure. I mean, as long as she doesn't say no at the aisle, we're fine. All right. So I wanted to do this podcast because not only did I want to introduce more people to you, not just from the fitness orientation, but just a lifestyle, piece on you because you are an interesting person. You have something that not a lot of bodybuilders have, and you are a pro bodybuilder. You got your IFBB Pro card as a super heavyweight, correct?
That's correct.
And that was at, remind me what show. Was it Nationals?
So it was at the 2017 North Americans. I was supposed to do the Amateur Olympia, and exactly 6 or 7 days before, I was doing cardio at the gym, and my wife at the time, she was in Florida for some trip or something for work, and I was like, man, I feel like I should just do North American. So I was working with Matt Jansen at the time, and I texted him. I was like, hey, I think I'm just going to do North Americans next Saturday. And he's like, okay. He's like, pull your carbohydrates. So I pulled my carbohydrates, and then Wednesday had a buddy drive me down there, and he just dropped me off, and I stayed with another friend. She was down there doing makeup for some other girls, and then Saturday came, and I walked out my first national show in IFBB Pro, which that's not really done. Usually it's like a season thing, where you like kind of have to fight your way through the ranks and do it for multiple years, and then you end up winning. But luckily I just must have just been the right time, at the right show. So it just worked out for me.
Yeah, so, like I was saying, the unique part about you is that you are an IFBB Pro, and you are a big IFBB Pro. You are not a small guy whatsoever. I stood right next to you at the Tampa Pro.
Yeah.
And the most interesting thing about you is that you have a personality. And I don't want other bodybuilders to take this the wrong way, but when it comes to, bodybuilding and bodybuilders, a lot of people are very one-dimensional. A lot of people don't really have a really blossoming personality where, you're entertaining. I just like talking to you because you entertained me. You made me laugh the whole time I was around you.
Yeah.
So that's really why I want to highlight you. And, I saw you come up. I saw you come up into bodybuilding. It's funny, you even found that comment from way back. It was like 2018 or 17. So I commented on that photo when you got your pro card.
Yeah. I was like, God, I was like, he's been here since day one.
Day one, and I saw you come up. And when I saw you get your pro card, the first thing that I thought was, finally, somebody with some aesthetics coming into the IFBB and a big boy category in the super heavyweight. Because you had big flaring lats, huge shoulders, little tiny waist, big sweeping quads. You were like, kind of like a Dennis Wolf type look.
Right.
And I mean, in my opinion, he was possibly robbed for one Mr. Olympia. I think he could have been an uncrowned Olympia. He might be called that one day.
Really good, man. I actually got to meet him last year. We went to Blueberry Hill together after the Olympia, and I met his daughter and his wife and stuff. He's a really cool dude. So,
yeah, he's very down to earth. I met him at the Olympia Expo, I think 2 years ago.
Yeah,
and he's just a really, really down to earth guy. Very family oriented. So it was really nice to see that.
Yeah.
So you currently are living in Las Vegas because I knew you were from Ohio.
Yeah, so I'm from Washington Courthouse, Ohio. There ain't much going on down there. So when I joined the military, I ended up moving up to Columbus, and then I was there from 2010 to 2020. I just moved here like 6 or 7 weeks ago. So
Okay.
I love it out here, man. This is I feel like this is where I'm supposed to be. So
That's awesome. And, I automatically liked you because you're an Ohio boy. I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, a little bit north of you, not small town, very big city.
right, right.
A much different atmosphere, but, Ohio people stick together. So we're,
Yeah,
we're very territorial. We all hate Michigan pretty much. We all like Ohio State pretty much.
right.
There's a few outliers over there. I'm guessing if you're a football fan, you're a Bengals fan.
Well, I don't really watch football, but I like to see Ohio teams do well. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah. So that
So
would be the only strife we would have. I'd be a Cleveland Browns fan. You might be a Cincinnati Bengals fan.
yeah.
So in Vegas, you are training, correct?
Yeah, so I train people over at this new gym. It actually opens up on the 1st of September. It's called Fit Club, and I really think this is going to be the spot to train when you're in Vegas. It's like has a great atmosphere. My friend Ryan Diaz is the co-owner of it with his partner Chris. He's a really cool dude. I had breakfast with them about a month ago, and it's just got cool lights everywhere. They got all brand new hammer strength stuff. The vibe's cool. They got good music. It's kind of set up like a little club when you go in. It's got the little railings, and it's got like little fences and couches, and it's got all hammer strength stuff down the side. They got The Rock painted on the wall. They got Jay Cutler on the wall. They got Mike Tyson painted on the wall. It's
Wow.
just a really cool place to train if you guys ever come to Vegas. So
And
it's
that's on your shirt. I see Seth Shaw Fitness Training.
Seth Shaw Fitness Training. Yes, I put the barbell with the American flag on it since I was in the military. So you got to represent the armed forces there.
And
So
that's
that's why,
something I did not know about you. I did not know you were in the military.
yeah, for 11 years, I got in when I was 17, right before I graduated high school. And my plan was to use the GI Bill to go to school and stuff. And figured out that really wasn't for me. And then I'm getting hired on there. So I was working full time for the state of Ohio, but I had to have a military status to do the government, to do the state job. So it was considered like a wage grade, like state employee. So they have like a GS pay scale and a WG pay scale. And I did that. And when I started doing that, I soon came to realize like, hey, I don't want to do this forever. And then I maxed out my pay in like 5 years. And I'm like, I really don't want to be here for 30 some years making $29.64 an hour. You know what I mean? And then I'm like, oh, let's figure out something else. So that's when I figured out, hey, I really like training. I'm into bodybuilding. Let me just start training people. And I started helping people online. And then I just ended up just stepping away from that. And then I got out of the guard completely in 2018. And then I just started doing my own thing.
Now you were National Guard?
Yeah, Air Force National Guard. Yeah, I was deployed a couple different times. I went to Qatar twice. I went to Turkey. I went to Guam. I did a couple different trainings all over the states. For the job I did was called Air Crew Life Support, and then we merged with survival equipment, and so we became Air Crew Flight Equipment. So I had to learn 2 jobs and get paid for the same thing. You see what I'm saying? Mm. So yeah, so then we worked with a bunch of different pilots and everything. And so I had to do all the training that they did. So I had to do like prisoner of war camp and survival training and water survival, altitude chamber. So because we were like instructors or whatever, so to be able to teach the class, we had to go through the same process as they did. So it would have been a good transition if I want to be like a boom operator or if a pilot, because I would have had all that training done. I would just need to go to flight school, which I didn't want to do that anyway. But
let's be realistic. You're not fitting in an airplane.
No, actually, well, I did upload and download equipment on them, but they have, so like for, I think the regulation for like fighter pilots, but we had tankers, so they wouldn't apply to me anyway. But I think it's like 225 pounds. You can't weigh over 225 for like a fighter pilot. I'm pretty sure.
What's your weight right now?
I'm 275.
Now, were you that big when you were in the military? Were you training bodybuilding style when you were in the military or before military?
Yeah, so I got into bodybuilding about a year and a half after I joined the military, because when I I was super skinny and I played sports in school and stuff, and I played football, basketball, track. So I was doing all this 2-a-days and stuff in the summer. Well, once I graduated, I wasn't doing any of that stuff, and I kind of gained like a quick 15 pounds before I went to boot camp. So I was like 205 when I went there, and they said I was almost too heavy to even go because they had like weird weight restrictions based on your height. I'm 6'2". And for some reason, I thought 205 was like pushing the limit. So I ended up losing like 15 or 20 pounds while I was at basic training because you have to do a bunch of running and stuff every day and all of that. And I came back and I was just so anti-running, working out. And I gained 40 pounds in 3 months.
Whoa.
Yeah, I was living with my grandma. You know how grandma likes to feed you, right? So like grandma's feeding me. I'm drinking a gallon of sweet tea like every day. Like I'm not exaggerating. Like I was drinking like a gallon of sweet tea every day. Me and my girlfriend at the time were going to Gold Star Chili. You've had Gold Star Chili, right? Being from Ohio,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
So, like 3 times a week, they would like know already what I wanted, and I got it was like 225 and just like a mess. I was just like my chest looked weird. I had a gut. And I'm like I was a skinny kid, and like right after all this happened, like I gained all this weight. I didn't look like myself. My buddy down the street, he was in natural bodybuilding and stuff. Never competed. He just worked out a lot. His dad worked out, and he learned some stuff from him. And we started training, and we went to a bodybuilding show like 3 months after we started working out. And he's like, "Oh man, I think you should do a bodybuilding show because you like responded really well to the first couple of months we've been training." So like a year and a half later, I do my first bodybuilding show. I won my heavyweight novice class, and then I went and did like that Dave Lieberman show up in Cleveland.
Oh yeah,
and I got
Natural Ohio.
Yeah, I got like 10th out of 18. I met one of my friends there, Derek Natcher. So we've been friends for like 10 years. He ended up winning like the junior men class there. Then I did like it's called like the Ohio Natural Bodybuilding Federation or something like that. I won the junior men there, the novice there, and I got like second in light heavies. And I was like, man, bodybuilding is what I want to do. So I was like, this is it, you know? So I was like, this is what we're going to do. So I remember I took like 2011 off. 2012, I did a few shows, won my class a few times. 2013, I went over to the NPC, did the Mr. Ohio contest. 2014, I did the Mr. Ohio and a show up in Michigan. 2015, I took off. 2016, I did the Junior USA. I got second in Super Heavies. Then we did the North Americans. And then, the last 2 years I did the Chicago and then Tampa. So we've been doing it for, it doesn't feel like it's kind of just flown right by,
Absolutely. Well, you have a really good story. I love the military background. That's awesome. I'm big on military support. I know what it's like to make that low pay. I was first responder police officer for 12 years almost. So I remember the reason why I left. There was no money in law enforcement, no money in the military like that.
Right, especially if you're a state employee like that. With the job position that I had, I was a wage grade 10, step 5. I couldn't move up anymore. Like I'm 25 years old, and I'm going to be told I'm going to be make 2564 for the rest of my life unless they have a cost of living increase. But what's that? That ain't nothing. Yeah. Unless you're a supervisor, and I definitely wasn't in line to get that anytime soon, because in the Guard, if you're familiar with like the National Guard, like people stay in until they're 55 years old. So it's like, it's a timing thing and getting ranked too. Like I know it's different, like in active duty, they have to test for it. And in the Guard, it's more like if there's a position open, you can apply for it, do an interview process, and you can get the next rank. But yeah, I ended up being just a staff sergeant E5 when I got out. But I'm really glad that I got out, man. I didn't want to, you probably feel the same way that I do about how you were at the police. Like I would drive there and I'd sit in the parking lot, and I'm like, oh, I really don't want to go inside. It was like an everyday thing. And I'm like, I can't do this forever. I got to figure out something. And so
once you get to that point, it's you need to start thinking outside the box, and you have to get really uncomfortable, because it's uncomfortable at leaving something after so much time.
Right. Yeah, because you got a steady paycheck. You got a house, you got cars to pay for, and all this stuff. And it's like, well, if I leave this job, what am I gonna do? So I end up leaving that job and working at a bar on Fridays and Saturdays, just checking IDs. And then I was trying to build up my clientele base on the side, which probably wasn't the best option. I probably should have tried to build up a clientele base on the side before I quit my job. But I was just to the point, man, where I was just like, I can't do it no more. And I was married at the time, and she ended up just getting a better job that made more money. She started off working at like an eyeglass place, making like hardly any money. And then she kind of just, once she graduated, she kind of just scaled up really quickly and got better jobs. And it was like, okay, well, we're in a better position where I can try to like accomplish something else besides just working for the base. You know what I mean?
Sure. Well, you know, doing what you're doing now, obviously, you know what you're doing. You can tell by your physique. You know, everybody always wants to give coaches credit, but when it comes down to it, especially in the pro ranks, athletes know what they're doing. You know,
Right.
You know what diets work. You know what supplements work. You know what, you know, and we'll get into that. Hormones and stuff like that work. You know how they work. People always think like, you know, big muscle bound guy. Everybody thinks, oh yeah, the big muscle head. He's an idiot. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I tell every single person, I'm like, listen, every bodybuilder that you see that is successful, whether they're pro or very high ranked amateur, they are like mathematicians, scientists, biologists, and medical professionals all in one. Because they are messing.
No.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, it's a science. You guys figure out the most ridiculous things to lose body fat while gaining muscle, while not dying, while eating the right amount of food. I mean, think about it. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things going on, for sure.
You know, especially when it comes down to the water manipulation and salt manipulation. I mean, you guys are playing with your biochemistry. It's great, and people don't give it enough respect.
Right.
So tell us, what's the plan for you right now moving forward? We know the Tampa Pro was, what is that now, a month ago?
Yeah, it was about a month. So
what's the plan?
My plan right now is just to keep focusing on my business, building up this online business, and just trying to put on a little bit more muscle mass. I sent like a big couple paragraphs to when I worked with Chris Aceto for the show. And I said, you know, I like my look, blah, 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 all this stuff. I was like, what do you think I need to do to get better? He responds, get bigger. That's it. And I'm like, okay, so what we're going to do, we just got to get bigger. And when I say that to people, they're like, you're already so big. I'm like, yeah, but you guys don't understand. Like, I'm like the tallest guy up there. Mm-hmm. You know, and when I'm weighing 250 and you got a guy that's 5'9", he weighs 250 or even 240. It's like, what do they say? Like every inch you need 10 pounds. Like I legit need to be like 275 on stage to like be like the man. You know what I mean? Like I put on another 20 some pounds over the course of my career, I think.
How tall are you right now?
6'2".
So you're 6'2", and you're 275 off season. What were you on stage in Tampa?
Well, I got there at 250 and I was looking really good.
Okay.
And this had taking too many diuretics and not drinking any water. And it wasn't a food issue at all. It was just so restriction on the fluid. And you know, carbohydrates and water, they follow each other. So if you're eating all this food and you don't drink like hardly any, well, I was drinking like 6 ounces of water per meal. And I was having 100 grams of carbs per meal. I mean, that's not going to be enough. And I remember after the show, everybody said, oh, after the show, you know, I look so much better. But like I drank 7 Diet Cokes at this Mexican restaurant. And like within 30 minutes, I looked completely different.
Yeah.
I was just so thirsty, man. And I filled out, I had veins everywhere. And it wasn't because I had a little burrito. I mean, I had so much, I had 2 double quarter pounders with cheese and 4 large fries the night before the show. So I know it wasn't, I mean, that's a lot of food, man. It's not a food issue. It's just a liquid issue. And I think moving forward, if I just keep my water the same and just drink normally like I normally do, and then maybe take just a tiny bit of diuretics on Friday night, I think I'll wake up on Saturday crispy and just where I need to be, you know?
Yeah, somebody mentioned something about classic physique, and they mentioned your name after they saw your placing. And I'm like, I'm almost 1,000% positive you would have to lose 20, 30 pounds of muscle to get into that category.
Well, I thought it was like somebody sent him, I think, who's that kid? Giovanni, whatever his name is. He's a goofy looking kid from, his brother trains at my old gym in Ohio. He's a cool dude. He's like in his early 20s. He says, you think, please do a classic physique show. And I was like, bro, I got to lose so much weight. He's like, no, I think it's like 243 or something like that. I'm like, listen, man, like, I don't want to do classic physique. Like, I'm a bodybuilder. And that's just what it is. Like, even if I won, say I did classic physique and I won, I wouldn't even be happy, bro.
Yeah, it's people. I hear people have two different ways of thinking with classic physique. Some people love it. Some people absolutely love the look. That's what they strive for. They don't want to grow any bigger than that look. But the thing is, I try to remind everybody, classic physique is bodybuilding.
Yes, it
It's
is.
bodybuilding with restrictions. So you
Yes.
are restricted from growing. I'm pretty sure, and correct me if I'm wrong, Arnold Schwarzenegger, 4 out of his 7 Olympias would not have fit in the classic physique category.
Probably not.
He would have been too heavy.
Probably.
And I believe that was 73, 74, 75, and maybe 70. 4 of those, he was huge. And 1974, he was a monster. He was 246 pounds on stage. And that was in 1974. That's insanity.
Right. Well, here's my thought process on what classic physique is. It shouldn't be governed by how much you weigh and how tall you are. It should be based on your look. If you have a classic look, you should be able to enter the show, and it should be a tall class and a short class, not be like, well, you're 5'9¼ so you can weigh 213 pounds. Like, if you look like that look they want, then you should be able to do it. It shouldn't be based on your height and weight. It's just like Cedric McMillan, beautiful physique. That's classic physique. But he's obviously 70-some pounds, 280 pounds. He's not going to meet the weight restrictions for that. But that guy is, like, you look at Cedric McMillan, that's bodybuilding. Like, hands down. Beautiful physique.
Yeah, 100%. He's got the posing down. He's got the look down. And you know what's funny? Some people don't like it about him, but some people, they look at him and they're like, he doesn't come in hard and grainy enough and this and that. I'm like, but I don't think he wants to have that hard, grainy, nasty look. He wants to almost come in. I don't want to say softer because he's not soft, but he almost wants to come in much fuller like they used to back in the 70s and 80s.
Right. Well, dude, even though he's not peeled to the bone from the backside, the stuff's still there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's there, but it's not grainy dry. Like my friend Brian Balzano, do you know who he is?
I do.
He craziest freaking shreddy glutes I've ever seen on a person. I'm like, I remember when he did the Francois in 2015 or 14 or something like that. It was the same year Trigilli won the USAs because he did the USAs that year.
Okay.
And he walked out, and I'm just like, who is this kid? Looked nuts. And I'm like, if he puts all the pieces to the puzzle together, that kid could be a top 5 212er all day. Nuts. Shredded, I just like, how does the guy, like when you watch him train, he trains super light and like really low intensity for a long duration. I'm just like, this guy's genetics are just out of this world, man.
Yeah, and people like that. There's people like that out there. People have these crazy genetics out there. There's one thing, and people will look at you and they will automatically assume unattainable because you're massive. You're massive. You're very shredded. You're very aesthetic. You're an anomaly amongst humans and amongst bodybuilders. Even for me, I'm only an inch taller than you. I cannot dream of being that heavy. I got to 250 once, and I felt like I was going to die. I couldn't tie my shoes.
Okay, listen, the first time I hit 250, I couldn't tie my shoes either. But you hit those new set points, and when you go up and down so much, when you get to those weights again, it doesn't feel like it's anything. Like 275 for me feels like nothing because I've been 310 pounds before. You know what I mean? So, like, I can do the splits. You know what I mean?
Got it. Yeah. So, I'm on a completely different trajectory. I wanted to be a bodybuilder when I was younger. I wanted to be a classic physique guy. I've competed. I've done that. And I still love the sport, and I still may jump on stage one day. Who knows? Maybe I'll have you train me and polish me up for one of these.
All right.
Right now, obviously, focused on business, 100%, just like you said you are. Right now, you're focused on business. And, I'm calling what I'm doing now, this is like business fit. I gotta fit in some suits and not be popping out of them or sweating through them every 5 minutes.
Right.
So your training stuff, you said you have an online training thing, and then you do personal things as well, correct?
Right. So I do online stuff, and I try to keep it like limited because I don't want to work with 100 people. I just want to work with like a set amount of people because I want to give my attention to those people and not like, I've heard stories of, well, my coach didn't get back to me for 2 or 3 days. I'm like, yeah, probably because he's has bunch of people. Like, I just want to set my cap at around a certain number of people and just focus on those people at a time. And then if they don't want to continue working with me, then I'll get somebody else or whatever. And then in person and stuff too. I don't want to be in the gym tons of hours, because I want to be able to relax and do things and work on the computer and go do whatever I want. So I'm going to train a couple people a day at the gym. And then I have my membership bodybuilding website with my training partner called This Is Bodybuilding. We got exercise library on there, shows you how to do the intensities of the exercises. We go over training concepts, monthly education, workouts and stuff like that. It's like $10 a month. So I dedicate time to that as well. And John writes the programming for it. I do all the workouts and basically run all the websites and all the social media stuff for that. So I can't be taking away from that, doing 100 people online and training people at the gym all day. I just won't be able to do it all myself, you know?
Sure. Well, you have a more exclusive clientele base. You're not like a Crunch Gym personal trainer. This is not the same caliber of what you're doing.
Right.
So you have your online presence. You said you're doing something with This Is Bodybuilding.
Yeah, so me and John Quint, was my training partner. He's been my training partner since 2016. I met him at the 2013 Ohio State Championships. I remember I walked up to him. I didn't know who he was. He's this massive dude, super heavyweight. And I poked him in the shoulder. And I was like, bro, how did I get shoulders like that? And he just like gives me this scowl look. And I'm like, okay, then whatever. But like a couple months, this dude reaches out to me. He sees my pictures on Facebook. He's like, hey, I do all this therapy stuff, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I want to work on you. I'm just like, okay. So I go up there for like 2 years. I'm going up there to see this guy. I was driving like 45 minutes to see him. He's like, hey, you want to work out with me? I'm like, nah, I don't want to drive up this far. Well, hell, I should have freaking started training with him years ago, because this dude's a wealth of knowledge. And he hasn't become my best friend. I'm in his wedding and everything else. And then we got this business together, and it's awesome. But yeah, so this website, we got 80 some members on it right now, and my goal is to get 100 by the end of the year. And it's just awesome, man. It's just so much stuff, and we're not trying to just put muscle on people. We're actually trying to show people like the ability to move and how important it is to like do mobility work and open up joint workspace within like your capsules, and like going through shoulder cars, going through hip cars. They're called controlled articular rotations. Those maintain and stabilize joint function. And we incorporate pails and rails, which is progressive and regressive isometrical loading. So that's like putting force into the joint to create new workspace. So then if you have more space, you have more workspace in the joint, then you have access to more tissue, so you can train more things in the gym, right? So there's so many things that we're going over here, and we're like kind of changing what bodybuilding is today, what people think what they think is bodybuilding. But what we're doing is actual bodybuilding. We go over cardio programming based on your heart rate, like all these. There's so many different things that we go over here, and he's working on a new training program for his FRS stuff that he's doing, functional range systems, with Dr. Andre Spina and Shivers and stuff from Canada. So that's all going to translate over to bodybuilding from what they do with like the ability to move and all that stuff. So I'm excited with what he's coming up with, so we can help grow and help everybody else with bodybuilding. So
that's great. And is this happen to be the same? This Is Bodybuilding on Instagram? That same guy? Or is
no, that guy. I don't know who that guy is, but okay. We are. This is what we do. This is bodybuilding. That guy's just posting pictures of bodybuilders.
Okay, I didn't know if it was the same person.
No, we are bodybuilding. I don't know that guy.
I'm just making sure. You're gonna have to steal that Instagram page handle from him.
Well, I got it. This is body. I just put underscores under mine.
Okay.
So
okay.
Page.
Got it. Okay.
Subscribe and follow.
There you go. And what is your personal website for your training?
What I do is I use This Is Bodybuilding. I just have an online coaching tab. When you click on there, it'll say train with IFBB Seth Shaw. You click on that, and it pops up a questionnaire for you to click and fill it out, and fill out all your questions for inquiring for the training.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I'll make sure that I post links below to all your social media and stuff like that. So anybody watching, you guys can just scroll down and you'll be able to follow him, Instagram, your Facebook page, and This Is Bodybuilding.
Yeah, I'll send them all over to you.
All right. So let's talk about what everybody always wants to talk about when it comes to bodybuilding. Let's talk about anabolic steroids, hormones, whatever you want to call them. And it's not controversial to me, obviously, when I own a clinic that literally prescribes,
Yeah, for sure.
hormone replacement therapy. But to a lot of people out there, there's a lot of misnomers on it. There's a lot of misinformation. There's a lot of scare tactics that we've heard over the years and decades. And, I think it's really becoming a pivotal part in everybody's lives, especially as they're aging. So you and I are not that old. Doesn't mean that we don't have any hormone deficiencies, especially with the food issues in this country and the water issues in this country.
Right.
But, for anybody pretty much over the age of 40, male and female, they're going to have hormone-related issues and declines. I'm sure you see it in clients all the time.
Right. And I always, because I'll give somebody a nutrition plan, training plan, all that stuff, and then they're not losing weight. And so I change some things. I'm like, hey, when's the last time you ever got blood work done and checked like your hormone levels? No. I said, well, I bet you got low testosterone. They go to the doctor. Yeah, my test levels are 300. I'm like, well, that's probably why you're not losing weight. And then some of them have a hard time getting doctors to prescribe them stuff because they're not like what you guys are. Or back at home, I used to go to Dr. Cavender or my buddy Joe. He works at a different Buckeye something. But yeah, some of these guys won't like help these people be healthy, and it frustrates me. So then they have to try to find an outside source and buy drugs illegally to try to fix their issues, when all they have to do is go to the doctor and say, hey, I have something I need fixed and you won't help me. You know what I mean? So that's where you guys come in.
Yeah, we see that all the time. We constantly get patients calling us and they're like, hey, my primary care provider not only refuses to do it, but he has no idea what I'm talking about. He doesn't know about testosterone therapy. He doesn't know about using HCG with testosterone therapy. He doesn't know about anti-estrogens. He doesn't know what an IGF-1 level is.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with these doctors. Please don't take this offensively. If you're a medical doctor out there, you guys are amazing at your jobs and you're absolutely essential to us staying healthy and thriving. But when it comes to hormones, there's a very specialized amount of training that goes into it. And I know for a fact, because I speak to doctors constantly, I have doctors that are patients that call me and ask questions. I have no medical degree. I am not a doctor. Most of the knowledge that I have came from me just reading books while I was a police officer. And then when I left law enforcement, I went to Dubai and got some training with A4M. I'm currently going through a 4-part course to become bioidentical hormone replacement therapy certified. It's a master certification. And from what I understand, I'll be the first one that's a non-medical person getting the certification in the country. So that's super cool. It's a cool feather in my cap. Doesn't mean I can prescribe, but
Right.
I want to be knowledgeable on the topic.
Right.
So, these doctors, they get about, like I'm probably exaggerating, but like 4 hours of training in hormones their entire medical school. They're really not trained.
That's probably why.
So they know the basics, but, without that, there's nothing really there. So here at this Orlando office, and you actually spoke to nurse practitioner William Carswell.
Yeah.
So Seth is a patient at Aspire Rejuvenation now. You just became a patient, I think it was a few weeks ago.
Yeah, it was like a week and a half ago, maybe.
Okay. So William Carswell, he's a nurse practitioner. He is probably, and this is including doctors, the top 5 smartest guys that has to do with hormones, relating to hormones in the country. And I'm studying, and I have studied under 2 of the top hormone experts in the world. So, I know when somebody knows their stuff, and, this is a nurse practitioner. He is not a doctor. It's pretty awesome. So, when you came to us, what was your experience? Did you feel more comfortable talking to us than you have with other doctors, or tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, I've never done a doctor's visit over the phone, and I thought it was, very convenient. Obviously, I sat on my couch and did it. He was very nice and friendly, and he went over my blood work with me, and we talked about, the medications that I'm using now and where my blood work is with what I'm doing. And we figured out what the best doses were for what I was trying to accomplish. And then we got everything out. And I think I got it within the next day. Like, maybe you guys overnight. I think I got it like literally the next day after I got off the phone with you guys. So it was right on top of it.
Yeah. So you did it over your phone and you did it over our video telemedicine service, correct?
Yep. Just sent a text message, the button, and it popped up on my phone, and I was talking to you within a few minutes.
Yeah, and believe me, I would love to claim that we do overnight shipping for all medications, but even I was surprised when you told me you got it the next day. I'm like, we just ordered that 18 hours ago. I have no clue how that happened.
I literally got it the next day. I'm like, whoa, these guys are fast. It's like they knew what I wanted.
Yeah, like I already shipped it the week before. I already knew what you were going to get.
Yeah. You saw into the future in your crystal ball.
That's right. And so when you have done this in the past, you know, besides the friendly and user, you know, the user-friendly platform and everything like that, how was it talking about hormones with William as opposed to maybe with other doctors?
I felt more relaxed because I feel like this is where you should go to talk about this stuff. I feel like other doctors are always trying to like write stuff down and put it in my medical record to use it against me later if I want to try to switch insurance companies or something. Like I always felt like just weird about like talking about that stuff in front of just other doctors because I feel like they're going to try to use it against me or something. But I felt like way more comfortable with you guys because that's what you guys do. And I felt like that back at home too with another doctor, but like other doctors and stuff I went to, I'm like, man, I really don't want to tell them anything because I know they're going to write everything down that I say and they're going to try to use it against me at some point. And I'm just like, I didn't even want to deal with them. So I always just try to do stuff myself, you know?
Absolutely. Now, I can just tell by looking at you, you know, compared to how looking at other bodybuilders, I'm always preaching the less is more kind of doctrine, that you don't need an excessive amount of anabolics to achieve a goal. You know, and you can see those bodybuilders out there and those athletes out there. And I mean, Jesus, I see kids in the gym and they've been working out for 6 months and they're like, oh, I just started my first cycle, bro. And I'm sitting here baffled. I'm like, you haven't even grown a real muscle yet.
Right.
I mean, you know, so I see that. And, you know, I always tell everybody, I'm like, you know, you can grow a very large amount of muscle on your body naturally. You did it. You were winning competitions as a natural athlete.
Right. I was 180 pounds. I don't remember how I did it for. I started training at the end of 2008. So I did like four and a half years before I started going to the NPC. So 2013, when I started doing the Mr. Ohio contest, that's when I started doing all that stuff. And but yeah, I mean, if the thing is too about using the larger amounts and stuff like that we were talking about, I think it's just people are lazy with their training. I think it comes back to the training and the food because I remember I had friends when we were in high school and stuff, and they were like taking stuff, and I'm like, they're not even changing. You know what I mean? Like they were like taking. I remember this guy. I'm not gonna say his name, but he ordered a bunch of D-ball or something. I'm like, I don't even know what D-ball is, bro. Like these guys are like all eating these D-balls. So I'm like, I don't even know what this is. Like I didn't think steroids like a thing until like 2008, 2009. I thought everybody just took the muscle tech supplements. Like I had literally no idea.
I mean, Jay Cutler took them, right?
Well, hey, this is a funny story. So when I first got into lifting, when training for like a bodybuilder, I remember getting online on bodybuilding.com and I bought the Jay Cutler mass stack and I got the muscle tech bag and I got the Lou kick and the GAT kick and the Cree kick and the cell tech, and I was drinking like 6 scoops of that stuff a day. I was bloating out my stomach and I was drinking the nitro tech and it said like warning choking hazard or something like that because it was so thick. And I couldn't take pills. Whenever I was a little kid, I get a headache. I couldn't even take a little aspirin, bro. Like it freaked me out. And I was so destined to get huge, man, because Jay Cutler was on this thing. And then Dexter Jackson was on the bottle of the protein. And I'm like, these guys are taking these big horse pills. You got to take like 6 of them of the one. Yeah. I'm like, oh my God. And I remember like, I would like gag trying to like to take these things down. So I would like chew them up if I had to. I'm like, I got to get these things down, man.
Just so you know, I'm gonna have to cut this part. I'm gonna have to cut this clip and put it on Instagram, and I have to tag Jay Cutler and Dexter, and I guarantee they're gonna laugh their ass off. Because they know. They know.
Bro, I was like, I remember, listen, I never took pre-workout before ever, and I remember in my Jay Cutler Mustang, I got Nano Vapor, and it was like this blue raspberry flavor, and I remember I drank it, and I was like, oh my God, what is this? And I'm like in the gym, and I just like can't stop, and there was no one, it was like 9 o'clock at night, I'm like doing push-ups to failure, I'm doing a bunch of sit-ups, like I don't know how I'm doing work, and I'm just like doing a bunch of random things, but like, I was like, what is this stuff? I can't take this anymore. This is insane.
Oh man, I mean, you're pretty much in our age group, probably. I mean, I would say anybody from the age 45 to about 25 right now know exactly what we're talking about with supplements. I mean, we open those magazines. Holy shit, Muscle Tech came out with something new. Jay Cutler is on it. Get it, buy it.
Need it.
It's $180. I need 6 of them.
I need it. I'm like, this is the key. And oh my God. Yeah. And then I remember doing workouts out of a magazine. Me and my buddy Kevin. There was a Lane Norton, it was called the FAT program, and I don't remember what it stood for. And they had like speed days and hypertrophy days, and like we didn't know how to do speed work. It just said like 10 sets of 2, and I'm like, 2, and I put the weight down. I'm like, 2, like I don't know what this is. We're just gonna do it though. But we did it.
The magazine told you.
Got good progress and everything, and but yeah, man, those were the days. That was so naive. I remember buying like so many test boosters. Dude, I would spend like hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month on just supplements, and like now I hardly don't even use anything. Protein,
funny.
Carb powder, yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I have a whole supplement line, but it's a health supplement line. You know, based on you know, these are FDA. These are made in an FDA facility. We're talking like a multivitamin,
Right.
liver cleansing. You know, an omega-3.
Yeah.
We're not selling things that, you know, will make you huge.
Yeah.
You know, so that's. Yeah, I mean that was the heyday. That was the heyday of the supplement industry. Those athletes. I think there's a rumor that Jay Cutler was getting paid $1 million a year for that Muscle Tech contract.
Wow, that's nuts, man. I remember. Do you ever remember getting that stuff called deer antler extract?
You know, I never bought into it. That was one thing I didn't.
I was like, man, I'm gonna get huge. This velvet deer antler. Just sprayed it in your mouth on your workout. Don't want anybody to see that you're taking your deer antler velvet.
Yeah, because you're thinking this spray is growth hormone. You're gonna go to jail. You're summing up every gym rat's last 20 years is basically what you did.
Dude, I was on a quest, bro. I'm like, this is what I need to do. I'm just gonna do whatever I need to do to get where I need to be, you know? So
yeah, so that quest for muscles and everything like that, I mean, you learn once you really get into the industry and everything like that, and once you really research the hormones, you know what builds muscle. And
yeah,
you know it's bullshit, essentially.
Right.
You know, nothing wrong with these supplement companies. I couldn't even tell you, probably tens of thousands throughout my life.
Oh, yeah.
Buying all this crap. So, you know, we all know that, you know, hormones are muscle builders. Testosterone is a muscle builder. It's essential in a man's body, you know, also essential in a woman's body. People don't always realize women also have testosterone, and without it, you're not going to be a happy man with a woman with no testosterone, because guess who's never going to meet you in the bedroom? It's just not going to happen.
Right. That ain't no good.
You know, and I have patients all the time. They bring their wives in. So I have like a husband come in, testosterone therapy, and then I have the wife come in. Husband brings her in. Hey, she has some hormone issues too. Can you check her out? We optimize her hormones. We optimize her testosterone, and she basically is chasing him around the house.
Oh.
And now he's coming back to me, and he's like, listen, I can't keep up. I need something stronger. This has been an actual conversation. So, you know, But when it comes to dieting, everything like that, it's really important, obviously, to check blood work. So I'm glad you're telling your clients that. Not many
Yeah.
trainers are.
I know, man. Everybody just goes through it blindly, but like I always get it done at least 2 times a year. I mean, you have to. I mean, you can't just go around with like underlying issues. Just like it's just not the best thing, you know.
Well, people ask us all the time, what do we do here, you know, at the clinic? And I basically, this is the statement that I've pretty much come up with to surmise what we do here. We improve your quality of life.
Exactly.
Period. It's a blanket statement, whether that's whatever hormone therapy you need, whether it's losing weight, whether it's, you know, whatever you need to do, that's what we do. We optimize your life, we make it better, you know, and that's what people really need to realize. But again, this is not, you know, this is not the only fix. It's people like you who are offering the diet, the training advice, everything like that. And, you know, that's why we're really excited that you're with us, and we're excited to, you know, tout your services. You know, eventually we have a goal to be in every major city, have a clinic like this in a major city. One of those is going to be Las Vegas, and exactly. I hope that, you know, I want to wear a Seth Shaw training shirt, and you can wear that Aspire shirt that I sent you.
Right.
You know, that's what I want to do. I want people like you to have a platform to help more people. That's what we're really all about.
Right. Exactly, man.
All right. Any closing statements before we wrap this up and we go home?
You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
I like that.
That's Wayne Gretzky, I think.
It is. Yeah.
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. Hockey reference?
Yeah.
Did Gretzky have a mullet?
Maybe.
I think he did.
Oh, I hope to God he did. Let's look it up.
I think he did. I'm going to have to look it up. I think at one point he had a mullet.
I hope he did.
I'm going to have to look it up.
Call it at some point.
You should. If you don't have a mullet at some point, all right, gentlemen, I'm going to call and listen, I'm going to get so much shit from so many girlfriends and wives. Gentlemen, if you don't have a mullet at one point in your life, now's the time. This is a challenge. Seth Shaw and I are challenging you to grow your mullet.
That's right.
That's it. Seth, thank you so much for all the information. Thank you for your service in the military. Thank you for all the education. Keep doing what you're doing, man. We love seeing you on stage. I love seeing you on stage. I think that you are a very welcome presence on that bodybuilding stage, and I want to see you just succeed like crazy, because you have that kind of physique that reminds me of the old school, but you have that mass of the new school. So I want to see that. I want to see that get in top places.
Well, next year, maybe we'll do the California. We'll fly you out there. We'll have a party.
Fantastic.
It's fantastic. It's like having sex with a woman.
Seth, thank you, brother. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, buddy. I'll see you.